Hi all, Rex King here. I've decided to do a video because it seems to me in the world today there's a lot of confusion about what is good. And so what I'm doing now is what we've done is we've made an image, and this image defines what is good. What is good? And so we're going to go through this. So by the time we're done with this short video, you're going to know what is good and how to maintain good in your life in every aspect possible. Let's do this. Thanks for watching, and please enjoy. And I've got many other videos on different subjects, and hopefully you enjoy. And please share, encourage others to come to the site and watch the videos, because the intent is to help people to understand how to live their lives better. That's what this is all about, how to master your life. What is good? It's important that we define this absolutely clearly, okay? What is good? Will this serve to make me better, stronger, and more efficient? That's it. What is good? Will this serve to make me better, stronger, and more efficient? Commit this to memory. Will this serve to make me better, stronger, and more efficient? I still don't have it completely committed to memory. I'm going to memorize this too, because I haven't been effectively doing this as well. I'm learning this as well as you. Basically, I've asked the question, what is good? I've answered it for myself. I've put my answer on this image, and now I'm sharing it with you. That's what's happening. Now, if you don't like my answer, then don't like it. I think you're going to find it fun though if you watch it. You're going to see the truth in it. Okay. Anyway, in other words, if something is good, what is good? Well, will this serve to make me better, stronger, and more efficient? Now, it could be personal, you as an individual. It could be you as a family. It could be you as a community. It could be you as a nation. It could be you as the world, as the community of nations. Will this serve to make me better, stronger, and more efficient as a world? Okay. Yes. Let's do that. Okay. And so if everybody makes those decisions consistently, it's going to happen. I'm confident of that, because that's how we got to here today. So if we're going to follow a path to a better place, then this is will this serve to make me better, stronger, and more efficient? If it does, then that's what you should be doing. Okay. Now that's the first thing. Okay. Now what's the second thing? Once you make a choice, you must maintain the desire. In other words, you've made a choice. So you've made a decision. You say, this is what I want. I've made a decision, a desire, a goal. This is what I want to become. A trait, whatever. Any decision, anything that you can imagine that you decide is good. Okay. And you've decided it's good because it's going to serve to make me better, stronger, and more efficient. Okay. Now, the thing is this going to be a function of your environment? Because, this is where you are. Whereas if you're in a bad place, then the decisions you make, even in this case, may not be the best, but they're going to be the best of the best you've got, ideally. And so, anyway, hopefully you find yourself in a place where you have enough control over your life to where, you can actually make decisions that you can consider good for yourself. And then in order to do that properly, ask this question to yourself. Will this serve to make me better, stronger, and more efficient? And look, I think it's appropriate. I put quotes here, okay? But I think it's appropriate that I mention that I got this from a book that was written by a man by the name of William Walker Atkinson. He wrote many, many books back about in the early 1900s. He wrote about 60 books on all sorts of subjects. And this is something that that's what discussion about good, what is good. And I picked up on this, but this is a quote from him in those books. Now, he might have got it from somewhere else too, okay? But that's my source. And I want to mention that because, this is deep. This is beyond me. This question about, will this serve to make me better, stronger, and more efficient? I'm not making up this definition from good. This man that was a proficient writer, and if you ever read one of his books, you'll know what I'm talking about. William Walker Atkinson is his name. And but you can get his books hardly at any cost on the internet. Anyway, once you make a choice, you must maintain the decision desire. What does that mean? How do you maintain it? Well, pretty much every decision you make, doesn't matter what it is, it's a choice. And then you got to maintain it. In other words, you may say, I don't want to have nothing to do with that. That's a choice. Okay? Or you say, oh man, I want that in my life every bit, I want to marry that person. I want that to be in my life from now on. Okay? That's a choice. Okay? You got to maintain that choice. Okay? Or you could say, you know what? This person right here has hurt me and I feel like I'd like to minimize my relationship with that person. And the only thing I want to have to do with them is share love between them and me so that we can encourage each other to be better. That's what I want to do with that relationship with that person, because that's how I want it to be. In other words, in every situation in life, you have to make choices, and then you have to maintain those choices. Well, how do you do that? How do you maintain all those choices? What are you actually doing in your head is the question I'm asking you. I think this is so funny is what it is. Because I don't make this stuff up. In fact, even this stuff, now this exactly isn't something I found in a book. I made up this illustration, okay? But this is basically based on logic, okay? Basically, you make a decision, and then once you make a decision, then you have to maintain the decision, okay? Now, most people don't think of it like that. And but once you look at it like this, you'll have to understand that regardless of what the decision is, you have to maintain it. And so let's just get into the illustration. So basically, this is a quantity or quality meter. And what I mean by that, in pretty much everything, is you want either some more or less quantity of it, or you want more or less quality of it. That's your choice. You have a quality or a quantity meter, okay? And so you've made a decision, and the decision says, I want a quality of something or I want a quantity of something. And so once you do that, once you say that, then you basically are deciding what the limits of that is in your life. So basically you say, hey, yes, I want to marry this woman. You ask her, you get married, bam, you're married to her. Basically, the quantity of marriage that you have is one. You have this woman, in other words, it's fulfilled. It's done. It's a yes, okay. And the quality is what the relationship that you have that stays healthy, okay. So basically, with that decision, the relationship. So now the decision is the relationship between this man and woman, okay. And in order for it to stay healthy, they have to stay within good limits. In other words, if he treats her badly and gets into the not best choices, not so good zone, too little affection, acting ignorant like an infant, okay, then the relationship between him and his wife is going to deteriorate because he hasn't put enough effort into it to make it healthy. Or she, okay, because this is basically one for each of them, okay? Because each of them, this is your mind, your it, your I am I right here. And then on the other hand, a man can become a tyrant, too right, excessive. And in fact, if you think about it, you can think of the political parties in the United States as the married couple. One's the man or one's the woman. One's the lenient one in the family. The one is the restrictive one in the family, whether it's the man or the woman that's lenient or restrictive. But the point is that too much of either one isn't good. If you're too lenient, you have a citizenry of lazy people. But if you plan everything to make it possible for people to succeed, give everybody the best opportunities possible, it'll be possible to be able to find a place for everyone in society where they stay healthy. And the same way with the excessive logic. I mean, use the logic, but use it in a way to where you can make sure that, for instance, the subject of abortion is a good one. See, the subject of abortion is talked about as if it is the problem, but it's not the problem. It's a symptom. It's a symptom of ignorance. It's not. There's some of it is people aren't moral enough, okay? But on the other hand, because of ignorance, people are put in positions where they're stressed out of their minds or not taught properly, not properly educated and so forth, where you create and breed an environment where abortion is much, much more likely. Okay, so is abortion a symptom or is it the cause? Well, it's obvious that when you look at it from this viewpoint, it's a symptom. So here we're fighting symptoms, but the cause is the excessive right is too dumbass to know that it needs to take care of people so that they're not too ignorant to know what to do to not have problems like that create abortion. Now, if the right, those that are the intellectuals are so smart, then why are there people that are having problems like that on earth? Because if you're that smart, this shouldn't be happening. In other words, you should be staying in the good zone, okay? If the government is making right decisions, balanced decisions with regard to a subject like abortion, it's going to stay in the good zone. The only time it happens is because it was some sort of a medical emergency. It was the saddest thing in the whole world, but it just could not be prevented. And in that case, all is good. Isn't that right? But what's happened is it's been politicized because they want to make it a symptom, and they want to make it the cause instead of the symptom so that they can not be the cause. Because that's what we're saying, is the cause is excessive logic. And not being able to recognize these people can't pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. That's why the parents are in charge. Well, if you're so smart and you think you're the parent, why aren't you being the parent? And the best parent teach their children to be the best children they can be, which means you want them to be in charge as much as possible. You don't want to be in charge any more than necessary because you're training them to manage the world. Why? Because you like to play golf instead of actually managing the world. You know, I mean, give me a break. You know, if you're so smart, why are you working your ass off? That's my question. If you're so smart. If you're so smart, you know, why are you not in paradise? You know, look, I'm getting off, you know, why isn't the world, all the problems in the governments and around the world, aren't we in paradise yet? We're so smart, it's possible. It's just about the people that are supposed to be in charge, that want to be in charge, actually have to have the grade, you know. I mean, I had to go to college. I had to study to become an engineer. I had to become an engineer. What do you actually have to do to become a politician? What do you actually have to do to prove that you have the character that you should lead other people? I mean, show me. I'd like to see that. Anybody that says I'm a worthy politician, you show me your credentials. You show me your track record. You show me all the men that are satisfied with the work that you did with them through the years. You know, go to the community and talk to the men and the women that know that person, that had business dealings with them. You know, see their track record, actual track record, not what comes out of their mouth. But what do they actually do? What actually happened when they were in charge? And what was the aftermath that the people that came after them had to deal with to recover this nation? And you say, oh, it's his fault. Oh, no, he's in charge. No, it's not his fault. President, I'm not going to get any more into this, but somebody that would basically denounce the standing president of the United States for no reason whatsoever other than to betray the country is a pathetic, and there's no excuse for someone to be given any honor whatsoever, regardless of the fact that they happened to become the president of the United States one day and almost overthrew the country. Whatever needs to happen to get this person out of this country needs to happen, because it is pathetic what he is teaching and pushing on people. causing people to think bad is good and good is bad on purpose. Anyway, this meter can be with anything. A religion, quality, quantity. Is it staying within the good zone? Is it obvious that it's making decisions that are in harmony with good? Does it even understand? Does the organization even understand something as simple as this, to where it has taught its members something so simple as this? If every one of its members can't know this from memory, this simple thing right here, or something equivalent, then it is a failure. Because this applies to everything in one's life. If a person decides they don't want to have any quality of something in their life, and they don't want to develop any quality of it, they don't want to have nothing to do with it, then all they have to do is create this good zone as I'm not going to have nothing to do with it, period. That's all. I'm not going to have nothing to do with it. But what they'll do is they'll take that and they'll turn that into a weapon. When Jesus was on earth, he talked about loving your neighbor. And basically, let that be the quantity or quality meter here, loving your neighbor. So if we're loving our neighbor and we're in a religion, what will we be doing to other people on earth right now? If we're in a religion and we're loving our neighbor, what will we be doing for other people on earth right now? Now, Jesus also said on the second half of that, he says, as you love yourself. As you love yourself. So basically, if you want it to happen to you, and you want your life to be the best it can be, and you expect it, okay, nothing less than the best, then that's what you would do or want to have happen to other people, period. That's it. I mean, that's the rule. Jesus set it up. Okay. So if you call yourself a Christian and you're good, then you're going to be doing that. So that means that every aspect of your life, you're going to be looking for the good of everyone. You're going to be hoping that those people that are put in some situation to where they have had to have an abortion in the past. Now, I don't care how ignorant it was. The fact of the matter is that those that want to be in charge on earth, those that think they're the smartest and that they should be the boss, they would recognize that that is not the problem, but it is a symptom. And the symptom is people aren't educated enough. People don't have enough opportunities. People aren't being given early training in life because parents are ignorant and don't raise their children to grow up and to learn and to be the best they can be. So basically, we're saying people are missing opportunities everywhere, constantly, because of faulty thinking. Jesus came to show us and to set up a tutor, a sort of a direction, a training program. And that training program is completed. That training program was to teach mankind in general to be a Jesus the specific. And that's what's been happening. Not just through the Christian religion, but through all the religions. Most people on earth just want to be good, period. I mean, who in the world goes through life saying, will this serve to make me better, stronger, and more efficient? Well, if that's it, I don't want to do it. If you're doing that, it's because something has tricked you into being that ignorant. If you're an adult, because you shouldn't be doing that. You should be making a decision that it will actually be good for you. Because in order to follow that golden rule, to love your neighbor as you love yourself, you have to be making decisions that's good for you first. Okay, it's just the way it is. And so if everyone is doing this, and the fact of the matter is, I believe most people do this or would do this on, naturally, if they would just, if they would be programmed to, if they would realize it. I'm going to do another video about the importance of being able to set sort of a default mode in our subconscious. I'll do that on the next video because it's an important thing to do, and it really gets in. It sort of gets off this subject, so I don't want to go there now. But if you're interested in this kind of stuff about how to get yourself to where you will naturally want to make the best decision because you've programmed your subconscious to do that, that's possible, and we'll talk about it in the next video. Okay, to continue with this one though. That's it. So the thing is you might make a choice. You say, I don't want to do that at all. And so basically the pendulum would swing, but your good zone would still swing everywhere because it would still be happening in everybody else's lives to some degree. Some people's limits on one thing might be way out here. Whereas on another person, the same person, it may be waiting. I don't have nothing to do with that. Another person, but is one good and another bad? No, everybody. See, what I'm trying to say is we're living in a multiple world of perfect people. But all of these perfect people have personalities, and those personalities are within limits, okay, that are possible. And so therefore, if the limits are possible, some people will like those extreme limits and some people won't. Okay. Now, ideally, the vast majority will fall into some balanced zone, and that balanced zone will be where society functions in a healthy, functioning way. And everything off to the sides are those that are trying to grow up so that they can get into the functioning zone. And if you think about this, the scale of this is infinite. This is God's mind. Okay, this is God's mind. Think about it. Quantity or quality. God, and every person, every soul that ever existed is in here, in this good zone. And he's trying to he wants everybody possible to be in the good zone, but some people wants to get out to the sides. Now, does he hurt them, destroy them? No, but they're out here and he's hoping they'll get into the good zone. Why? Because that's where his will, that's where things are good. People are happy, people reproduce, and things are, But the thing is this could be infinitely big. This area can be infinitely big. This area can be infinitely big in this area. So the question is, which one do you want to be in when you're making the majority of your decisions? Ideally, if you're here, you're going to be happy. Now, this is everyone. Now, if you notice, say, what is good? I didn't say, hey, look, if there's some religion that's special, or there's some trade that's special, or if you're a man, you're special, or a woman, you're special, or age, you're special. No, none of it. What is good? You make the decision. You decide what is good for you in your life. And if you're doing that, you're saying, this is best for me, and I know if it's best for me, it's good for everybody else. I want to get the best education I can get. I want to make it possible for everybody can get a good education. Children, we're talking about children up. The thing is, this is the thing, is poverty today, a lot of the poverty. Well, is that a problem? No, it's a symptom. See, that's the thing, is once we get this ball rolling, and the next crop of children coming up, and the crop that we have now, that we can start teaching and training them, hey, look, this is it. It's just this simple. What do you want to be, what you want to do, and give them opportunity to become that. Don't let people be trapped, or children be trapped in a world that's not going to give them these tools of education. I went through college and nothing this simple was taught. Now, granted, it's been a few years ago. Maybe it's being taught more now. But this is it right here. It's just this simple. This is about as logical as it gets. Every decision in your life that you ever made is still ticking in your head somewhere. You set a belief on it, Really, the quantity meter is basically setting a belief. This is, for this thing right here, I believe this. This is what I want, okay? And so this is a belief meter. So when it makes sense, because basically these are all the decisions in your life. Morality comes involved. That's what it is, the quantity of quality of things. But the issue being is good for you. We shouldn't be judging other people. See, that's what's happening right now in politics. The right is judging the left. The left is too lenient. They're not wanting to make sense of the world. They're wanting to free loaf off of other people. That's what they're saying. But is that true? Well, of course it's not true. They're looking at symptoms and they're saying that's the problem. But it's symptoms. Why there's symptoms that way? Because the world is, unfair right now. Wealth isn't properly being distributed. I mean, how would we know that? Because if it was properly being distributed, things would be staying in the good zone everywhere. So the question is then, is wealth properly being distributed today? Quantity, quality. Okay, well, what's happening to life choices now? It's falling, the worth is less stable today. Well, is it being fit? No. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You can point to this in every question ever. Look, I didn't mean for this to go this long or to get this involved. But let me do one more, and then I'm going to stop this thing. Quantity or quality meter? Belief in the devil. It's your choice. The information is available that a person can reason thoroughly enough to where they can come to understand what the true identity is, the devil in their life. And once they understand that true identity, they'll realize that the reason why they believe in such a thing as a devil is because they don't understand this. They don't understand that they have full control over their life. All their decisions, everyone's individual decisions, and of course we're put in the environment, from the environment of the past and heredity, as well as current environment and our current experience, how we've reacted to the past, our current situation. We're in a situation now, a personal, identity. That person right there, right now, has to deal with life, okay, and what's going on. But this is what they should be looking at. Not if they might have done something in the past where the devil's out to get them and they're not due or rewarded or whatever, some kind of stuff like that. It's impossible to have free will and be imperfect at the same time. It's just not possible. And so if we have free will, and none of us doubt that, then we should also accept that we're perfect. But we're also perfect, and because we're perfect and we have free will, we also have the free will to make bad choices. And that's what this is about. I'm saying, hey, look, you're a perfect soul that's made a lot of bad choices, and you think that bad choices is you're imperfect, and now God wants to punish you. But that's not it at all. You've only made bad choices because you were ignorant and you made bad choices. You don't have to add the devil part on top. That's just an unnecessary layer. So when you go straight to the source of what is it? I mean, this is it. This is our belief ticker in our head that makes us or helps us to make decisions. Quantity or quality. And what can happen, one other thing is what can happen is if we lock into some religious belief or political belief system and it becomes your world, what can happen is you can distort this. And you could thinking it's okay to do bad things, and it's never okay to do bad things. The golden rule always applies. You must love your neighbor as you love yourself today, tomorrow, and forever. There's no ever excuse to treat someone else in a way that they do not deserve. It's just never an excuse for it. Everyone should be treated properly. And the fact of the matter is, if you're mature, if you have excessive logic for sure, you will realize that the whole human family is but one life, that the universe is but one existing spirit, and we all just happen to be individuals in there because we happen to exist, and we can determine the quality of our personal existence. But I assure you, the quality of the overall existence, the mind that created this, that's in charge of the biggest one like this right on the top, I assure you, his good zone is always going to stay in. We can't affect it. Now, granted, we individually, collectively, we actually set the limits, okay? But individually, none of us can cause it to move in a direction that's going to be opposite to what that overall mind has in mind, the overall purpose of the all. And if you believe in one God, which most people do, that's what I'm talking about. Regardless of what some people think, that even those that believe in the Trinity actually believe in but one God. The Trinity is but a description of how God thinks. Sort of like this. The first decision, then you have to maintain it. 1, 2, 3. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Anyway, that's it. And it stays good. What is good? God is good. Why? Because everything he does in every way is good. And if we're his children and we are happy with every decision we make, because that's why we made that decision, okay, then we're good too. So we don't have to consider ourselves imperfect or flawed in some way, because we're doing our best to make the best decisions we can do. Now, if we're not doing that, it's because we've got ourselves haywired somewhere. Maybe not to our own fault. Maybe we've inherited. Maybe our parents subjected us to things or whatever. Or we were given religious training that's unnecessary and we're stuck in religious training. I mean, what this is about is a person should be taught good and bad from a viewpoint of morality. What limits they, as they're growing up, they should be given by their parents and trustworthy adults that the parents, have verified that the information is truly accurate and going to be helpful for this child as they grow up into manhood and womanhood and live a productive life in this world. Then that's the kind of, that's what we're talking about, is helping a child to grow up and set those limits. And if a religious group or a social group of someone can help that, that's a grand thing. But they shouldn't have moral control over this child. I mean, this child is going to be setting its own, limits in its own heart and mind as to what it wants and doesn't want. It's not a religious order's prerogative or even the parent's prerogative to decide, ultimately what the child wants. Because once the child grows up, you want to set the limits the best you can. But once the child grows up, it's off on its own. It's going to decide what it wants, how it wants to reset these or not reset them. It's their choice. But to force someone to feel like they have to live a certain way all their life because of some ungodly or petty reason is ridiculous. Anyway, I want to stop this. I don't want to go any further because this can go on forever, explaining the reality of how simple it is to just make decisions. We don't need some, we don't want somebody else to come in and set these for us and tell us what's good and bad, but we have to, this infant ignorant thing, to overcome this, we have to personally do it. We can't be relying on somebody else is BS to decide whether or not, it's good for us or not. It's just happiness don't go there. What is good leads to happiness, leads to paradise. And if you want to make good decisions, then look at this or something similar and develop one for yourself. It's just a concept of good and bad, positive and negative, but it's all relative. It's every good is relative to everyone. And that makes sense because God is all. He is almighty. He's all powerful. He's all present. And so every individual is a child of God. And so they can create their own good. They don't have to have a religion to tell them what good is. We do have to have a balance, that everybody can live within so we can have a healthy society. And that's what we're talking about. Collectively, we have a good zone of society. And war doesn't fit into the good zone. It's excessive. That's where war is. It's excessive. And poverty doesn't fit into it. It's excessive, unnecessary. Why? Because they're symptoms of not having the correct quality or quantity. It's just that simple. Well, look, thanks a bunch. I hope hopefully this will go viral to where all mankind can understand how simple it is to just be good.